Hey, how you doing, Dr. Prodigal? Good day to you. Uh, I don't, I guess you could say, broadcast as much because there are many times when there's nothing to say. And if we force ourselves, and the Lord told me, how much error is that? That we actually going to say that God told us to do something or to say something. So I'm very careful with that. And I've told, my wife, I said, hey, trust the God in me. The man that let you down, but trust the God in me that I'm forever looking after him. And that's where I want to come to just touch on something today. The word confess. Confess, confess. We always look at it as a bad thing. Well, he confessed to it. Or either we'll say, well, I'm confessing that I am of God. We have our own way of seeing this word. Oftentimes we don't dig deep into it. But I'd like to touch on one of the Bible verses, 1 John 1 and 9, where he said, if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. So, I've heard, and recently there's been so many different things that have come out that we need to correct. We need to correct. I mean, I can go many different ways, but some of the things that are coming up now, some things I won't even speak on, and some things I will. Whether it's a pastor saying that the church should lend their land to grow cannabis and hemp, I'm okay with that as long as it's legal. Because first of all, you have to do a lot of research on something before you make a judgment on it. And a lot of the judgment that I'm hearing in the media and also, different clergy that are just attacking it, they don't have enough information to make the statements they're making. But then the next thing that comes about is, well, here we got that part. And now we have people that are saying, well, we can't do business with certain people because of lifestyles. Tell you what, let somebody with any type of alternative lifestyle have a business that's providing a service or a need to me at a decent price with wonderful quality, and I will still support them. I don't even subscribe to the thing now. Well, I'm only going to do business with Christians. You're really special. Don't. Don't even think that. Well, let's go back to this word confess. John said, if we confess our sins, he's faithful and just to forgive us and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. So in my study time, and I made sure that many know I'm not one to go into quantity, but I'd rather have quality. And sometimes quality is one word. This time that one word is confess. Confess. Confess means I agree with you. So in essence, that covers it all. When the police say that you confess, you've agreed to what they said. Sadly, sometimes they not telling the truth either, but the confess. So I began to look at that. I said, Lord, how many times have I personally beaten myself up over this confession thing? Lord, I confess my sins. And then we got to throw a little extra in there. What do you confess? And then you want to go and try to list everything, every thought, word, and deed, and all. And then you realize that I can. If I sat down and tried to list everything that I've done at the end of the day, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to make it. I'm definitely not going to make it. So this is why a Bible verse is really burning in me, especially during COVID. It's in him that we live, we move, and have our being. I've discovered a lot of things health-wise that only in him am I having the grace and mercy to still be here. So I'm still doing that confess thing. So what did I come to? I've come to the conclusion that I can't just, at the end of the day, inadvertently list everything I've done because we even forget some things during the day. If we could access our subconscious, then yes, probably. If our subconscious is in subjection or submission to our spirit. One thing. So I go back to the word confess, say, Lord, what do you mean? And the word confess means that we disagree with. So what I have done with this, and it was so simplistic, it kind of punched me in my chest a little. Lord, I know that wasn't right. I agree with you that wasn't right. So I've already confessed my sin to God. And now I'm confessing my sins. I've confessed my collective sin, which brought me into salvation to God. Now as I'm going through the day, that's already forgiven. All of that's forgiven, past, present, and future. But as I'm going through the day, when I confess my sin to him, Lord, that wasn't right. I could have spoke to that person better. Lord, that wasn't right. I walked out of there. I could have went right back in and took that extra dime back. That they wouldn't even have the problem. I could have went right back in and did it. Lord, that wasn't right. I shouldn't have cut that man off to take that parking space. I've confessed my sins to him, and he's faithful and just to forgive them and cleanse me from all unrighteousness. And can we take it one step further? Not only do I confess my sins, but I forgive yours. Because if I don't forgive yours, I don't care how much I confess, he can't forgive me. So until I forgive you, I don't even have the right to agree with him on my sins and expect forgiveness. But I must forgive you. And then I've already confessed to him my sin. And now as I'm going, I'm confessing my sins. But again, it's all tied in. Until I forgive you, I can't be forgiven. So one of the scariest things that I would hear people say was, I'll forgive you when I get ready. And what's going to make you ready? Considering that, your life is a vapor. And if you die in your sin, there's only one place you can go. And I've heard people say that. And then I've heard people say again, if something happened, they began to do it all. They begin to forgive everybody. And again, just like me not being able to remember my sins, all of them for that day, I'm quite sure you ain't going to remember how many people you just chose to not forgive. So here we are. Let's get this word, confess. Let's confess. Let's agree with God. Let's agree with God. I am going to agree with God on anything that's wrong. And it's a lot that's wrong. So God bless y'all. Let's think about it. If we agree in confession of our sins to God, he's faithful and just to forgive us and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. But let's forget all this other stuff. Let's just confess and agree. God, you right, and we aren't. Dr. Prodigal, man, this has been a wonderful time. We should have something being released very soon. Actually, I'm going to be very transparent about what I've had to go through in COVID. It wasn't as easy as people think. And there's some other things that I noticed as well, but I'm being very careful and cautious how I record it. But it'll be coming out soon. God bless you. Let's have a wonderful time in the Lord.